September brings another episode of Mobster of the Month, and after John Gotti is August's main man, September has a lot of expectation. Therefore, we announce Vito Genovese as our September Mobster of the Month. Vito was originally from Italy and moved to the US around the age of 15, settling into the Little Italy part of Manhattan, which was home to some of the up-and-coming names in the mob world. From a young age, you could tell that Genovese was going to be a criminal figure, as he started off by running small crime errands for the mafia up until his late teenage years, where he would collect money from people who played numbers. Genovese was a stone-cold killer. Let's not beat around the bush here. The guy was a pure murderer, and it was this trait that would propel him up the organized crime ladder. Joe the Boss instantly saw this and used it to his potential. However, this was a decision that would eventually go against Joe the Boss, because Genovese was said to have been one of the hitmen used by Lucky Luciano in the assassination of Joe the Boss and Sal Maranzano. It was during the early part of the 1930s that Genovese would act as the underboss to Lucky, but Genovese had his eye on the bigger prize, his own crime family empire. His time nearly came up when Lucky was sent to prison for 30 years and Genovese received US citizenship, but at the same time, Genovese was running from the FBI in prosecution and had to hide out back in his home country of Italy. Frank Costello was then the next mobster who would step up and take the role of acting boss of the family, and so he did. Genovese didn't give up there though. While spending some time in Italy, Genovese continued to be a powerful force and teamed up with the Sicilian Mafia, who he helped run numerous racketeering projects and black market operations with. He even became friends with the Italian dictator Mussolini. Genovese eventually returned back to the US. The prosecution and case against him for killing mobster Ferdinand Boccia were dropped and the witnesses were taken care of, if you know what I mean. In the 1950s, Genovese's name would go down in history when he teamed up with Carlo Gambino and planned a contracted hit on Albert Anastasia and Frank Costello. The aim was to overthrow the current leadership in both the Luciano family and the Anastasia family. Gambino would be given role of the boss in the Anastasia family, while Genovese would get the Luciano family. Anastasia was killed in 1957, and Costello narrowly escaped death but decided to step down. That's when the Genovese family was born, and so too was the Gambino family. The biggest downfall for Genovese was the Appalachian Meeting, which was a meeting that would see the mob unveiled to the public and the arrest of several high-ranking mobsters, including mob bosses. He called for the meeting in which he wanted the commission to make him official boss of the Luciano family. With things becoming too public for the mob, something had to be done, and only one person had more power and intelligence than Genovese, and that was Lucky Luciano. Luciano, even though in prison and watching his crime family taken over by Genovese, would plan Genovese's demise by getting him convicted of narcotic charges in 1958. He would go on to spend the last 10 years of his life behind bars. On February 14th, 1969, Vito Genovese died of natural causes. The Genovese family is still named after Genovese nearly 50 years after his death. We hope you've enjoyed our September edition to Mobster of the Month. Keep it locked on the nationalcrimesyndicate.com. Subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. You're now rocking with the best, NCS Costa Nostra.
Welcome to the Sting on Vaz.
The search is over. Every series helps bring you a step closer to the life of the mob without dangerous exposure of what went down, plus Mobster of the Month. Original content if you're searching on a hunt for the who's who or the best dressed guys, the type of guns they use, the feuds and mob wives. We supply everything as soon as you log on to the nationalcrimesyndicate.com. From John Gotti to Dawn, back to Mustache Pete, Big Joe, Al Capone, and Maya Lansky. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, cause the code of silence here no longer applies. So make sure you subscribe and stay tuned in, cause over here we like to keep this thing moving.